Hello guys, it's Peter from PS Sound, and this is going to be another short little walk around type video to show this Mazda 6 project we've been working on. How many chapters have we had, Stefan? 3 so far?
This one is by you, second one.
Is it? I can't follow. Yeah, we've had chapters. Well, once we did the enclosures, the amp wiring. That was it, and then now this, right?
Yeah,
it's 2 chapters.
Chapter 3 is coming.
Maybe I feel like that it's been an ongoing project for longer because once you came down for a tuning session, that's the reason why. Yes, and that was a very painful long day because Stefano has had quite a journey in car audio, and he started off with the wrong installer, wrong advice, and yeah, it hasn't been a smooth journey for you so far. Smart. Well, you have learned a lot along the journey, that's for sure. So we used to have all sorts of things in this car. He had a huge amp rack blocking the whole boot space, and not the boot space but blocking the whole boot off, and then whatever sub he had in the boot, it never played into the cabin. And knowing that he preferred the upper bass, tight punchy bass, huge ported enclosures were just not playing anything for his taste at all. It doesn't matter if a sub can play great at 30-40 Hertz on drum and bass and floating hip hop if you're listening to crazy rave music and techno and whatnot that requires tightness. But we also established that you can't play especially great output from a sealed saloon boot space. You have to be able to play into the cabin. You have to be able to let the pressure get into the cabin. And that is the reason why now all you can see is 2 separate enclosures facing forward. I'm going to show what we have from the cabin. So what's happening here at the back? As you can see, this is work in progress. We only have a nice little daily temporary panel going on the top, covering the amplifiers, keeping everything safe. We have a DSP Pro Mark. Which one is it? 2, 3, 3. Actually, this was one of the first ones, I think, when you bought it. Yeah.
That's changed the focal one.
Yeah, because you had the focal DSP and that wasn't doing the best job. And then we were looking at options because you had all sorts of amplifiers as well. Yeah, you had all sorts of things, and then of course we couldn't spend crazy money. So then we came up with the idea to have the Helix M range, because the M6 is great price, the M1X is great price. So we have 2 M6s. Currently that one is running tweeter and mids, and then 2 channels are spare for potential front sub in the future. And then the other one has mid bass bridged on 2 channels, and then the left 2 channels are running the rear speakers. Then 1 monoblock runs 1 sub each. And that's how we have plenty of channels for everything, because we had to split the last 2 channels, so only 1 channel runs the front sub and 1 channel runs the rear sub. So we had to link, as you can see from the output of that monoblock, we have an RCA running to the other monoblock, and they are running linked that way. We have an additional excess power battery, because back in the day you were told that you need more power. Whereas that wasn't the problem. The problem was that the sub couldn't play into the cabin at all because it was sealed off, and the sub was also not the greatest. That's for sure.
Junk.
Yeah, it's okay for street booming, especially in a hatchback. It's gonna be great, but for musical tight bass, playful bass, it wasn't performing well, and especially in a sealed boot. But now at least you have definitely great power supply with the additional battery at the front. You have oversized 0 gauge from the front to the back. You have plenty of power. And yeah, one day this will look pretty as well once we have the chance to make a simple panel with a display to show the amplifiers underneath. And we even talked about potentially, yes, I thought about it when we were building all this. I was thinking to put Plex into the sub boxes, but realistically there's only so much we can do within a certain time frame and budget. And if you start to add fancy things to it, then time is flying. And I didn't want to do that complexity. At least this way, if you have that floor panel covering the amps, people look into your boot and they can't tell what you have in it. Everything is carpeted, everything is black, and you still have decent amount of space for daily use. Because we have these Fokker 30K axis facing forward. Yes, it certainly changes the characteristics of the base in the cabin when it faces forward, because you take the boot space out of the equation, and then you don't get that extra cabin gain you get in other cars when you can play into the boot. But yeah, if the boot is completely sealed and you don't have a ski hatch, then how do you get the pressure into the cabin? This way, they still play better. They play through the seats better. Or if you tip one of the single sides on driver's side, then yeah, you have great output. The low end is a bit compromised, but considering that the subs are facing forward, you still have the low end really well playing by these two subs. And yes, we have plenty of power on them because they are dual voice call wired to 2 ohm, and then we have 700 watts for each. So yeah, these can move. These can definitely move the car and have a crazy excursion. But then this week we had a bigger project. Some of you could see little updates here and there, few story pictures on Instagram and Facebook, and all the daily updates on Patreon, on our Patreon channel, where we showed how these enclosures for the mid-base drivers were built. Tony's still here with us. Probably this is going to be shared after your car. You lifted that enclosure up. What would you say? How many kilos was it?
5 if you're lucky, if not that.
Yeah.
It's really light. It was lighter than I thought.
Yeah. Because it's half-inch structure. There's a brace along the length of it. It's rigid enough for the intended purpose. Yes, you could always make it more rigid. I've met people in competition in Germany where there was one guy who welded an enclosure from aluminium. And yeah, good luck building anything more rigid than that. He had two 6.5s in them on some crazy mega power. I've never heard output from 6.5s like that in any car. Yeah. But that was an SPR car, an SPR guy / SQ front end, but his front end was going bananas. Absolute crazy shit. I would like to build something like that. But why did we build an enclosure? Because everyone says that the mid base belongs to the door, right? Because that's where the factory location is. And now I could swear, I could say many bad things. Many people know that I hate doors, because the door is not meant to be for a speaker. Think about home audio. Do you put your speaker in a cardboard box, slap some deadening over it, and then expect magic? No. In home audio as well, you see floor standers, huge enclosures with aluminium bracing inside, or matrix bracing like Bowers and Wilkins do it. And they build the enclosures rigid. When you knock them, you don't hear any ringing, nothing. So the only sound that you hear comes out of the speaker. That's what we want to do in car audio as well. Yes, then people can argue that, oh, but the door was, the speaker was designed for the door application. It needs all that airspace. Yeah, surely it needs it, because that's what people were brainwashed to. Everyone was brainwashed to believe all this. A 6.5-inch driver is tiny. Then you put it into a 50-60 liter huge leaky door that's flimsy, rattling. Even if you do a lot of sound deadening and soundproofing, who's benefiting from that? The companies who sell all that shit. So you carry on buying more and more, hoping that that's going to help. And it doesn't. Well, yes, it does something, but you will never get clean mid-bass like you get when you have a rigid mounting, like now, an enclosure. Because unfortunately, we couldn't build kicks. We couldn't do IB or build a box in the kicks. So this was the only viable solution, and it worked out great. Now the bass is really playful. You can separate the notes. You don't have buzzes. It's tight. It's kicking crazy. So yeah, that changed the game. Also, we had situation with the mid-range in this car that the mids were underneath the factory panel that now got trimmed, and then we stiffened it up and we molded the mounting of the stack flex 3-inch mid speakers into this panel. And then now they don't play through restrictive grille. They play beautifully, straight out with a custom 3D printed grille that we speaker clothed. This way it looks way more OEM. We changed the tweeter mounting as well. We did that cleverly when Stefan had a day And yes, that's something I hate with Mazda. Things just don't stay in place. Yeah. Some cars don't have the best fitment. There's not much else we can do about that. But yeah, we were clever when Stefan had a day. He popped down, we mounted the rings for the tweeters. Then we could build them without the car. And then now, at this stage, we knew that we would just have to drop the pillars in, and the tweeters would be in half an hour, sorting out the speaker cable connection, and that's it. That was easy enough. That modification was easy. That was done in a day. I 3D printed the mounting, fiber filled it in, shaped it, trimmed it, put it back, and it works way better. Yeah, you were quite shocked, Tony. You said that we had a center speaker.
Yeah. Actually did, yeah.
Yeah. It's solid. The image is so solid with dash mounted mids, but that's a different story. We have weekly topics about that on Patreon. You can learn a lot about that. So, yeah, we have now a more capable front end. And to be fair, part of me doesn't even feel like this car needs a front sub. Yes, we can always make one and then have fun with a front sub. I'm not against it, but these enclosures now work so well. After this, even Eddie felt like, you know what, we should just build our enclosures for cars where we can't do kicks. It should be like the primary, you know, job to do for any car, because in order to get clean mid base, the installation has to be solid. And on that note, I'm gonna leave this video. I just wanted to have a short little update for you guys to see a car in progress, because for most people, yes, it's a journey, like that one we shared in the previous video, that beauty over there. Yeah, it's not fair. I don't have pretty shit like that in my car. No.
Just got blue lights.
Yeah, I just have a boring panel with many amplifiers. Come on. Yeah, I miss my Honda.
Yeah.
That was popping like yours now, with fancy lights. Yeah, the Honda definitely delivered a few things through the years. Yeah, poor little thing. Yeah, resting. It will come back. Resting in a garage. And that's the reason why so many people changed their mind about car audio when they heard that car. Probably you too.
Yeah.
But hang on, we met up once with Vio. Why?
I think it was when it, you know, look at the Orion. I said to
Oh, you wanted to get it
my
tuned.
Honest opinion, your honest opinion.
Yeah, yeah.
And you was in there for 10 seconds and you pretty much said it's shit, and that was it.
No, I was polite. I would never say it was shit.
Well,
No, I made it clear that there's a lot to do here. There's a lot to do here, and then we reach in your car.
I think it was before COVID. That's before COVID.
Yeah, around that time. No, it was during COVID, because then you came down soon after, and it was still COVID. It was 220. Yeah. Yeah, after the first lockdown or something like that. And then I don't even know how Stefan found me.
I think it was from the Dan, from the Sheffield, the other guy. You've been talking with him during the first.
Oh, someone recommended us or something.
Adam Daniels, I think. It was.
Oh, Adam. Yeah.
Through him. But before that, I got contact from someone on the Facebook group, but I didn't know your website, PS Sound. So I texted you on the your profile, on the private profile, but there wasn't a response. So because there wasn't a response,
I didn't respond because we get dozens of messages every day, and most of the messages are unfortunately go in one direction. People only want stuff from us, and we never get anything out of it. I could be sitting in front of the PC all day, and I wouldn't have any work done. Sorry guys, if you are one of those who keep sending messages to us. There's now a great favorite on Facebook. YouTube. Someone keeps commenting on YouTube, requesting feedback on speaker sets, like review of Brax Matrix, review Focal Utopia, review Hertz Milli, and that's it. There's no hello, hi Peter, how are you? Would you please, wouldn't you mind? Could you, share a few minutes to share your information about your thoughts about these speakers or some? No, just blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, maybe it's not his language. English is not his first language, but still, I don't have time to just please everyone messaging.
you've only got to show that, you haven't got time.
Oh, yeah, the previous video we showed. There you go. We are way beyond midnight. way beyond midnight and we have a meeting tomorrow, so we have to cut this video here. Sorry guys, but I wanted to make sure that you see this car at this stage, because this can give inspiration to many of you, because that door enclosure is not that difficult to build, especially if you follow the progress. You see the pictures and then you check Patreon channel where I gave tips and tricks how to do this. If you're a DIYer, you can do it, or if you're a shop, there you go. Now you got a few tips, and I would highly recommend to do this with a cheap speaker instead of selling a super expensive speaker screwed into a door, which is good for sales and it's shit for the customer. Don't do that. No, it's a dirty, industry. You have to get down and you have to get dirty to get good systems done well. It's not going to happen just by a screwdriver and a bit of deadening. So that's that. That's Peter's takeaway from door enclosures. All right, I'm going to cut it here, guys. Feel free to share it, comment, do all the usual things, subscribe, because I don't mention that these days. Yeah, check out the description for the Patreon channel. And yeah, follow Facebook, because that's where we share the meetings, because we have regular meetings, competitions or friendly meetings where you can hear these cars. All right, this is it. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.